Hi there, Melissa here, and I am back with a layout that I'm making for the first September reveal over at Let's Get Sketchy. I'm on the design team, and what I wanted to show you is, I'm sure if you've seen my video of putting this kit together, this is a stash kit, and I made it for my son's birthday photos for this year, but I just wanted to quickly show you how I store it. And I know many people have shown this before, but I'll show you my way, which is kind of similar to most people, but this is the only way it can be organised. So embellishments I keep in here, smaller ones and the stamps. And if you want to see the full contents, go to that video, I'll link it below. And in this little container I've got bigger stamps and my photos and some other bigger embellishments and bits and pieces. So that's how I keep the embellishments. And then, I know you've all seen iris containers before, but this is how I keep the kit. Here in New Zealand, I haven't found the top layer that sits on the iris container. So if anyone here in New Zealand has seen them, please let me know, and because I'm really keen to get one, just to help keep myself organised. And I've got all the kits that I work with are in separate containers at the moment. So in here are the bigger embellishments, letter stickers, and anything that's 12 by 12, whether it be stickers and papers. So that is that. So I'm now going to move on to making my layout with this kit. So here's the sketch, and it's by our awesome leader Brynchevier, and here's the layout. And now I'm just, normally I would cut this out, but I'm just wanted to show you how I go through my photos and decide which ones to choose. So this day of Sam's birthday had 3 sort of sets of photos. There was opening the presents in the morning, and then there was the cake. And there were photos of him with the cake and photos of the cake without him. So I wanted this page to be pretty much the first page in the series of layouts, and it's not going to be a separate album. This will just go into his normal album, but when I have a series of photos, I will kind of make a cover page, even though that will still have journaling on it, but it'll be a cover page that will lead into the rest of the story. And I'm intending to do some pocket pages as well, just so that I don't make too many layouts, because I have quite a lot of photos. So here I've used that die cuts with a view paper, and I've had that for such a long time. I bought a stack of birthday papers, and I just had them for so long I didn't use them. I took out the ones that I wanted to keep, and that one there is one as well, and I gave the rest to my husband. There's kids at school just love any of my leftover scrapbooking stuff that I don't give to my children. So that little 8 was perfect for this layout. And now I'm just going through that old piece of studio calico paper and picking some of the elements on there that I think will work well. Now, what you didn't see was me misting that, and I think it's because my camera either died or the card was full. But all I did was spray it with Delusions and then drop some mist on as well. And so now it's just a case of selecting the papers that I want and cutting them into the different pieces for layering. And I'm using the sketch as a guide. I'm not doing absolutely every single piece of paper. I'm just kind of getting the idea of placement of where the photo and papers go. And I'm using that bag, I think it's from Whisker Graphics, and it would have come possibly in a paper bakery kit or studio calico kit, but I love it, and I've got a few of them left, and I've just kept them. And the thing about making this homemade kit was that it was easy just to go into my stash and find bits and pieces that I've kept and loved and haven't used. Now the sketch showed a piece of paper that it looked like it had a cut in it and bits tucked in, and so I'm mimicking that by just putting this over the top of some of the layers, and I'm pulling my photo out because I don't want it to be stuck in there. And now it's just a case of placing my papers and not using too much adhesive because I want a bit of freedom in case I want to move things around. So you'll see how I mimic that cut in the paper by placing these bits in between. And I have kept these papers for such a long time to use on a layout for Sam. I selected them. We used to do a monthly crop with a bunch of friends, and there was a shop down south 2 hours away because where we live is quite isolated, and my friend knew the owner, and she would send up a box of goodies every month, and we'd just go through and decide what we wanted to buy. And so the blue stars and the number craft paper came from that box, and I remember selecting them especially for Sam, but as all hoarding is good for is nothing, and I'd kept these pieces of paper for quite a long time, so absolutely awesome to finally get them down on a layout. And I think sometimes we get too caught into using the latest and greatest, or even with me with my hip kits, I would always focus on trying to use up my hip kit so I could be on time with getting my next one. So Stash Kit is a really great way of reinventing what you already have and making something from what you've spent your hard-earned money on. So I've decided to commit to where my photo is, and now I'm just trimming out that blue border because I don't really like it with the red of that 8 card. It's like a flash card, and my fussy cutting's not perfect. It's never really been perfect. I'm probably too impatient for it, so it doesn't bother me too much, and I think in the end I may have even trimmed out. I'm just going to have a look. I've got the layout here. Okay, so I've just trimmed it out, and it's not perfect, like I say, but it doesn't matter because no one's really looking at our layouts in such great detail when they flick through my albums anyway. And I say our layouts because I just want to encourage you that things don't have to be perfect, and hand cut is often a really nice homemade look. So I've decided to stick down that main cluster, and now I'm just working on the little cluster on the side, and it just showed some layers. And I wanted to add staples, and I've put 2 staples on the top and bottom, and that just mimics what I've done with that other piece of yellow on the other side, and I've put 2 staples on each side of that one as well. So now I'm gluing this down and trimming off the excess, and I like the way it looks going off the page. So this layout was revealed, I think, at the beginning of this week, but I made this one a couple of weeks ago, so it's been a while since I've looked at it, and I know I haven't had many videos lately. What happened was I found out that one of a really respected work colleague had passed away, and he had been diagnosed with cancer only about 8 weeks before he died, and I didn't even know that he was sick, so it was quite a shock for me, and kind of didn't scrap much over the days that I found out about that. And this one I would have made after. Yeah, I made this after, but anyway, all that to say that I haven't really had much creative flow lately. I've been struggling a bit, so playing along with sketches is definitely something that helps me when I don't really. It's not that I don't want to scrapbook, I do. I always want to scrapbook. It's just that I feel like I don't know where to start, or everything starts to look the same, and that's kind of where I'm at the moment. So this sketch was definitely very helpful for me, and because I'm on the design team, I had to do it. I mean, no, life goes on, but sometimes you just have to scrap, and I've always wanted to honour my design team commitments, but definitely helps having a sketch. That's what I'm trying to say. So back to the layout. There I'm using that speech bubble was from an old Studio Calico kit, and the little stamp is tiny. It's also from Studio Calico kit, and you get this little stamp banner, and then you get some words that are slightly curved that you can put in the banner. And so what I've stamped is today is more than just a good day, and I think that works really well because this is a layout about Sam turning 8, and been thinking a lot about Sam lately and just reflecting because I can't believe he's 8, and it's amazing. Like he just yesterday was talking about his 9th birthday, and we've told him because our children have a birthday party every second year, and so next year it will be his 9th, and he's due for a party. But we've told him that because 10 is a big number, it's double digits, and it's special that he gets a party turning 10 as well. So I just can't believe, especially when I look at my youngest, who is 17 months, nearly 17 months, that I now have this big boy who's 8, and I can look back when he was 17 months and just really think, wow, where's the time gone? So he's becoming such a lovely young man, and we're really proud of him. Yes, we have our moments. As parents, we all have moments with our children where they don't do what we want, or there's times that are challenging. But we have to look at the positives, and Sam's just growing into such a lovely young man. And I just want to reflect on that and record some of that as well. And that's why scrapbooking is so good, because as well as recording the photos, we can really get down the moments and the thoughts and the way we feel about things. And that's why to me journaling is so important. So here I'm using I think it's a paper bakery stamp set, and it's one that I had lost, and Brielle went through my stuff and found it and just wandered into the kitchen one day with it. So I added it to this kit, and it's got arrows, and the one that I just stamped there says that happened, and I'm putting my journaling underneath, and I've just written, how did you suddenly get to be 8? You'll not like me saying this, but you really are such a gorgeous boy. We love you so much, Sam. And then I've added, you'll see coming up, a few more arrows, just plain arrows, and I wanted to have them scattered around the page, and you'll see that. I love this photo of him because it captures him unposed, not looking at the camera, and just really happy to be opening his presents on his birthday. So I'm using some Stampin' Up! Black ink for this, and I've had it a long time. The ink pads have changed, and I'm not really sure how to describe it to you, but they're smoother now, and I much prefer the old ones, so I'm glad I have this. I'll just be able to buy ink when I need to fill it up, so I've never had to do that, so that's good. So there I've stamped those arrows, and I've also got the arrow, the red arrow that says take note, and that's an October afternoon one. And now I'm just adding a bit more of the delusions, and I think the colour might be London Blue. I can't quite remember. So now I'm wanting to just put his name on there, and at this point I realise that I don't have any M's left, so I decide to use a W and use it upside down, and it's not perfect, but it probably looks more like an upside down W than an M, but it works. And I like to put their names or their initials on their layouts, and I'm really inspired by Maggie Holmes, who always does this, and I love it. And especially with the girls, because people say that my girls look the same at the same age. It is 5 years between them, but Brielle definitely has a look, well, I don't see it as much, because I see the differences more than the similarities, but yeah, some people say they look like twins at the same age. So it'd be good in the future just to know which child is which, if it ever got confusing. So now I'm using these Amy Tangerine little word stickers, and I love them. They came in a hip kit, and you got in the pack, you got a full pack, and there were 2 of each. So I'm just using the blue ones, and I'm just picking out some words that really work with this layout. And that's how I store my wood veneers. And one thing I've done this year is really get organised with storage, and it makes it so much easier, especially when you're putting a kit together. So just deciding what ones I'm going to use, and I've looked at geotags and stars, and that happy birthday is also from a hit kit, and I especially kept it for birthday layouts, and I wanted to use it for Sam because otherwise it would, for me, it would end up on a card, and I knew that I wanted to scrap these photos with this homemade kit, and I hadn't added it to the kit, but I knew it was there. So I'm also adding a geotag, and I'm just placing that at the top, kind of like next to the 8 because he's 8, so it's like a location, I guess. And I wanted another arrow, and I like the fact this one is a circular one. So I'm just making sure I've got some wood veneer in each of my main embellishment clusters. And I find Tombow is really good to glue wood veneer down, and quite pretty excited because I've put an order in with my friend who sells Stampin' Up, and there is a fine line glue pen. So I didn't want to be importing a fine line bottle into New Zealand, but I'm pretty excited about getting this pen, so keep an eye out for it. As soon as it arrives, I'll definitely be using it, and I'm hoping it's refillable and I'll be able to put my Tombow into it. So there I'm adding a tiny little Studio Calico wood veneer star, and those little stars came out several years ago now, and I still have a lot left, and I just absolutely love them. So now I've got my date stamp, and as you know, I'm making a real big effort to put my date on every layout that I make so that I don't end up with a big giant pile that I have to go back to later. And I've put it to say happy day, and I've just put March 29th, 2015, because that was his birthday. So I'm just bending up some of the edges there for a little bit of dimension and interest, and that is pretty much the layout done. I loved making this one. The sketch was fantastic. I'm in the place now with sketches where I can always make them work to my style, no matter what the style of the sketch, which is always good. I've just added a little pop dot behind the bag, just for some dimension, and there's my final layout, and I've got a couple of close-ups. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested, go and play along at Let's Get Sketchy.